Hi guys, it's Any, aka the Noctrader, your friendly neighborhood swing trader, back again with another video. Today is Sunday the 9th of June 2019. I'm going to give you a technical analysis breakdown of some UK and US stocks on my watch list. Let's get straight into the video. You know what I'm going to ask you to do next. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that alert button to get alerts on all my latest videos. I've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the Noctrader on all social media platforms. And if you check the description section below, you'll see a link to my mailing list. If you join my mailing list, you get priority access to my free training course that are for beginner traders, and you also get weekly emails of my latest videos and spreadsheet of my entries, exits, stop losses, and the reason behind some of my trades. So straight to the video. I've got a lot of stocks to cover today. I've got 3 UK and 5 US stocks, so I'm going to get straight into it. First one is DAX, the German 30 index. DAX. Okay, so it started making a lot of gains over the last week. This is the daily chart. And so DAX has been rallying up for the last couple of days. What I like to see here is that on the 4-hour chart, actually let me just zoom out. So this is a previous descending channel pattern. So if you scale back, you can see that it's been ebbing and flowing from about September 2017. It's been going up, then down, up and down, descending channel pattern. Now what it's done here is broken out of this descending channel pattern, consolidated at the old resistance, and now it's climbing. This white line was a key support, the resistance level. That's why I made it so thick, because this is a key point. But it's great to see that it's consolidated back to this line, treated as a support, and then climbed up. What I like about this 4-hour chart is that the price has gone up, come back down, and treated the 15-day exponential moving average, which is the purple line, as a support. And you know what that means when that happens. I think it's going to carry on rallying up. So that's on the daily chart. On the 4-hour chart, actually, I'll go back to the daily chart as well. Great to see that the 180-day simple moving average is underneath the price, and it seems that it's going to be climbing up. So everything is letting me know that price seems that it's going to carry on rallying up a bit. You need to take into consideration that DAX is quite volatile. So even if you're right in the direction, you might see heavy swings in one direction, but it might retrace. So you have to be able to have a strong stomach when you're trading DAX, because you might be 100 pips in the wrong direction. But if you know that it's going to go a certain way, you need to hold your position. So that means stop losses can't be too tight when it comes to DAX. What I realized last week on the 30-minute chart, I'm going to go straight down to the 30-minute chart, was that this was making an expanding wedge pattern. So I made a video on the expanding wedge, but what it's doing here is that it came from the bottom and it came up, and then it started making an expanding wedge. So it started ebbing and flowing. You can see here was like the resistance, and here, and here was the support. Now with the expanding wedge, you know, the 180-day simple moving average was coming up, so this is telling me that price is going to rise. And also what it was telling me was that with expanding wedge, as I've said in my previous expanding wedge video that I make a video on, the way to trade the expanding wedge is that you wait for it to hit the middle at one point and then go back that direction. So if it hit the support, came to the middle, and then came back down, then I know it'll be selling off. But here it seems to have gotten up, hit the support, hit the resistance, come down to the halfway point like here, and then climbed up again. So what that tells me is that price is going to break out of the upside of this expanding wedge. So it's bullish. So if I took a long position here and held, it would I would say that this is going to be bullish. So it's going to break out of this support, this resistance line, and carry on going up. So a great way to make this trade would be to enter wherever it's at now, set a stop loss maybe just below this point here, because this is the halfway point, and just let it ride and see how far it goes. And obviously just move your stop loss as you see fit, as the price keeps rallying up. So yeah, I think DAX is going to be bullish based off of this expanded wedge and just the overall shape of the charts that it's providing me with. As I said, the wider view, if you look at the weekly view, the wider view is that on a if you look at the weekly view, it's had this big support and resistance line that dates back to 2014, extended channel pattern. But it's kind of been tested at the 180-day simple moving average, which is treated as a support on the weekly chart. But I think it's going to carry on going up now. And then yeah, the MACD and RSI kind of corroborates my opinion. So I would just say go long on this, but be wary. Go long and then set a type stop loss just below where I set it. Next one is IAG. This is one I covered a while back, but I think it's time to return back to it. It's doing everything that is showing the great signs. I called this way back that this was going to break the support, but when it started lingering here, I kind of lost interest in it. But I was right. In the old video, I said this is going to, just the way the pattern shaped up, it looks like it's going to break the support line and carry on selling off, because the 180-day simple moving average was curving down. This middle support and resistance line, it was hit, and then it started selling off, and it's continued. I think it's going to carry on continuing to sell off, because on the daily chart, the 15-day exponential moving average is still acting as a resistance line. Price keeps coming up to it, but then hitting it, and then before selling off some more. It's done it a couple of times. It's come here, dragged on, sold off. Come here, dragged on, sold off. So I think it's going to do that again. Because we're selling off, it's hard to kind of really tell where it's going to treat as a new level of support. So this is where kind of Fibonacci comes in. Well, I like to use Fibonacci anyway. There's different people like to do different things, but this is how I kind of try and predict where the next level is going to be. So I don't know how true this Fibonacci is held, but I can make a speculation that the next level could potentially be here, just based off the Fibonacci. There's lots of ways of doing it, to be honest. It's not an exact science, so I'm just kind of speculating here. I could go Fibonacci from here to here, see what that does. Don't know if that really tells me anything. Nope. Fibonacci from here to here. Yeah, it gives me that. So I'll say this square. Around this square would be where I'd say the next level could be, potentially. So that could be a potential 100 pips, and then you could only be risking about 10, 15. So that would be like a 9 to 1, 10 to 1 risk to reward ratio, which is more than manageable for me. I'm happy with that type of risk to reward. So that'll be something that would be a great position to short. And then yeah, MACD RSI all kind of telling me the same thing. It looks like it's going to sell off again. And if you look at the weekly chart, actually the weekly chart is you have to just be wary that the weekly chart looks like it could potentially just start plateauing. The 180-day simple moving average is above price, so that tells me on the weekly chart it's going to carry on selling off overall. But right now it might be overextended, so it might retrace a little bit before it decides to sell off, based on the weekly chart's price, the way it's set up. But yeah, it's one to watch for a short. And next is AAL, Anglo American PLC. On the weekly charts, it's not really telling us much. The MACD and RSI potentially could be telling us that it looks like it's going to climb some more. The 180-day simple moving average is quite telling. It's kind of curving up. It looks like it's starting to pick up acceleration and curving up, so it looks like it's a buy based on the weekly chart. On the daily chart though, this is a great position signal that I just realized. This is a great position. So overall, it's been an ascending channel pattern, ebbing and flowing, ascending. It sold off, and I made a little bit of money because I actually shorted this a while back, and I didn't short it all the way down. I didn't really exercise the full potential of the short trade that I could have had, but I did short it and made a little bit of profit. But this is a real telling signal. So it never made it down to the support line of the ascending channel pattern. But where it did stop and double bottomed was at previous resistance here, which is about 1864. It double bottomed and it looks like it's going to start making highs. And where it double bottomed, the 180-day simple moving average on the daily chart seems to be climbing. So what I'd say is that a long position is very favorable here. You could long it even just up to the old resistance line. So that's about 300 pips. And you'd be risking 100 pips. So what's that? That's 3 to 1. Great risk to reward ratio. I wouldn't mind risking 300 pips to make 100 pips to make 300 pips, or £3 to make £1, whatever your however you're scaling it. But it looks like really favorable. But this tells me, all the signs are telling me, yeah, this is going to be a long position, because it's double bottomed at old resistance. 180-day simple moving average is curving upwards, and it's started making higher highs already. On the 4-hour chart, it's also done exactly what I always want to see on the 4-hour chart. It broke out of the 15-day exponential moving average, which is that purple line, and it's kind of consolidated above it. What I'd like to see, if I'm really being pedantic, but I think I've seen enough to take a long position, but if I wanted to be really extra, I'd want to see it break out of this line, so that, because right now it's kind of making like a false channel. channel pattern. But if it broke out this time, then you really know the bull trade is on. If it broke out here, I'll just wait for it to kind of break out, then come back down and consolidate on here. Then I'd make an entry position and then just ride it to the top. But that's if I'm really being extra. But yeah, setting a alert on this line actually. Yeah, so that's another one. That's a good long position. I like that one out of the three that I've mentioned so far. And off onto the US stocks. So first one I'm going to go into is DO. I actually took a position on this on Friday, but I didn't make a video on it, so I couldn't really talk about it with everyone. But I'll tell you how I traded it. If you go onto the, so on the daily chart, I was initially in a short position for this before, because as you can see, it made a channel pattern, broke out the support, consolidated back on the old support as a resistance, and then started selling off. The 180-day simple moving average was curving downwards, and I thought this is a great position to short it. But then I saw that it was losing momentum. So what I really wanted to see in my short position, actually let me go down to the 1 hour chart. This is probably a bit better. What I really wanted to see in my short position was I wanted to see it came here and it started selling off, but it didn't really break this line. And what I mean by that is, actually it's easy. I'd gone to the 30-minute chart. Actually, I plotted the line on this. I don't know why it's not showing. So what I saw was that there was this invisible resistance line here. There's this invisible resistance line that I wanted it to break. So I thought at this point, this was the point where it's going to break it and then carry on selling off viciously like it did here. It did not do that. It came to this line and then it kind of like plateaued, and that's when I realized it's not got enough momentum to sell off completely. So I exited my short position. I actually went long, and then I went up here and then I made about £45 on the long position, because if it was going to sell off a lot, it needed to sell off. This was the point where I was supposed to do it. I was supposed to break here and then carry on going down, but because it didn't do that, I realized it's not got the momentum. Maybe it's because it's a Friday. Maybe it will sell off eventually, but as it stands, I thought long position would be the best to go. I went up and I made £45. The problem was, when it got to 9 o'clock, I forgot to exit my position, so I'm still in it. Hopefully, when it opens to tomorrow, it doesn't just kind of gap down. I can exit my position and then regroup and see how I want to trade it. But yeah, I just made £45 off of it, but it might have wiped it out by tomorrow's open of trade. But I just saw that I made the intraday decision just based off of this kind of line that I saw. But because I thought it was going to sell off some more, but maybe Friday wasn't the day to do that. I believe that it's going to carry on selling off because of the 180 simple moving average, but different graphs are telling me different things. The MACD is kind of telling me that it's kind of plateaued. It's not really giving me like, it doesn't look like it's going to sell off aggressively. I wanted to see like it kind of sell off some more. The RSI looks like it's flatlined, so this could potentially start climbing up again. I don't know. Basically, the price action and the indicators are telling me two different things, and that's not kind of disconcerting. So I'm once I think I exit this position, I don't think I'll take another position in this until something concrete is given to me based off of the indicators. But if the indicators are telling me two different things, then I'll just won't enter the trade, because there's other trades out there that have more definitive signals as to what to trade, rather than speculating based off of contrasting. I don't know what the word is. Where the two signals are telling me different things. I've had a brain freeze for a second. So yeah, next one is ADNT. This is a new one, new entry. ADNT, back to ascending channel patterns. This one, I feel like I've caught this right at the beginning of ascending channel pattern. That's the best. This is just it's ebbed and flowed. This is on the daily chart. The 180-day simple moving average is coming down, but it looks like what I think is going to happen is that it's going to flatline here and then curve up, and by that time the price will be above it. I think this is on its way up. The reason why I believe that is that on the weekly chart, look at the MACD and RSI. The weekly chart is really telling. It's sold off from 2017 to now. It's sold off, so it's been selling off for a year, almost a year. It's been selling off, and now it looks like, I feel like it's bottomed out, because it found this base, climbed up, sold off a little bit, and climbed up. And then the MACD and RSI are all kind of escalating. So this is still telling me that it's found its bottom and it might not sell off anymore. This is what I like to see, stuff like that, because that tells me that, okay, yeah, we found our base. Now we're going to start making highs again. We've sold off enough. And so on the daily chart, I think this is a beautiful position to kind of take a long position. Just buy it here and wait for it to hit the resistance, just like old times. Just simple ascending channel pattern. No extra stuff that you need to do. Just buy it, sell it here. 900 pips. Risk. What am I risking? 400 pips. Even less than that. Maybe 300 pips. 3-to-1 ratio. Easy money. And then the next two I'm going to cover aren't actually real technical analysis. It's just me covering some of the old ones, like some of the previous technical analysis stocks I did. AMD. I covered AMD in the previous video. I think it was my last video, the one before that. Check it both out, and you'll see if I covered AMD and what I said would happen, it happened. So I'm just kind of recapping on it. What am I looking at? Why has all my signals gone? My indicators gone off this chart? Yeah. So AMD. So on the I said this is kind of the analysis I made on AMD is kind of similar to the analysis I made on DAX earlier on. It's expanding wedge, and it's doing exactly the same thing I expect DAX to do, but it's already done it. I noticed that it was ebbing and flowing, but making wider supports and resistances. And what I wanted to see was it to level out in the middle, wherever it did, and then make a decision. It hit the resistance, leveled out in the middle, and then started climbing. So what that told me was that it's going to break out to the upside, and that's exactly what it did. If it had hit the support, leveled out to the middle, then I knew that it would have sold off to the downside. So yeah, I just thought I'd cover that and just recap on that and see that told you that it did what I expected it to do. Same with TSCO. It another extending channel pattern. It this area was an area of support and resistance, and it plateaued here, and then it started making highs, and now it's climbed. It's climbed aggressively in just a matter of 4 or 5 days. It made 900 pips. That's a lot of that not 900. Can't count. 900 pips. So it climbed up and then just kind of respected this ascending channel pattern based off this support and resistance area. So those are two that I covered in previous videos, and then a recap just to tell you that they've kind of gone the right way. And last but not least, I'm going to do OHI. So this stock initially had the expanding wedge, but then broke out of that, and now it's made the channel pattern. But on the daily chart, it's the 180 simple moving average that's acting as a support now. It's not actually really support using the channel line as a support. It's the 180 simple moving average, as you can see from here and here. So how do you play this? Well, to me, it looks like it's going to climb and hit this. Whether it breaks out, I do not know, but it's going to climb and hit this based off of the fact that it's just been ebbing and flowing. It's been making high. It's hit this line and it's climbed, and the MACD and RSI all kind of look like it's ready to go into positive territory again. So you can make a little short trade here. It's probably like a 2-3 day trade, 100 pips, easy money. MACD, RSI all telling me the same thing. I'll be surprised if it sells off, but you never know. Trump might tweet something cool, so you never know what's gonna happen. The good thing about the market right now is because Trump agrees on a trade deal with Mexico, there is a little bit of positive sentiment. There's some good news. Whether it affects the wider economic market in the whole, we do not know, but at least something good's coming out of these trade talks. There's no regression, and that's good for the market, because with all these negative talks that have been happening over the last couple of weeks, it's really had a negative impact on the market, which is why the Fed had to make some news about potentially cutting interest rates. So yeah, that's me, aka the Noctrader, and that's signing out.